Welcome to my channel World of Coins, the place where history meets treasure. Here, every coin tells a story, from the oldest United States classics that shaped our past to the newest rare discoveries that amaze collectors today. If you love the thrill of uncovering hidden value, exploring the beauty of design, and learning the secrets behind coins worth fortunes, then you're in the right place. Join us as we dive deep into the world of rare U.S. coins, both old and new, and reveal the fascinating details that make them priceless. Top 1. The Washington Quarter has a special place in the history of American coinage, and the year 1966 is a very interesting one for collectors. This quarter represents a unique time in the United States, when coinage was undergoing major changes, and it carries with it both historical value and the potential for extraordinary worth in today's coin market. In 1966, America was in the middle of a decade full of change. Social movements, scientific achievements, and political challenges were shaping the country. The coins minted during this era not only helped everyday Americans buy goods but also became a reflection of the cultural and economic realities of the nation. The Washington Quarter itself had already been circulating for over 3 decades by the time the 1966 issue was produced. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, the coin had become one of the most recognized and trusted pieces of currency in the United States. But what makes the 1966 Washington Quarter so fascinating is the time period in which it was struck. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped producing quarters in 90% silver. Rising silver prices had made it too costly to continue, and the Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This meant that the 1966 quarter was among the early issues made without silver content. Instead of the shiny silver alloy that collectors loved, these new clad quarters had a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. They looked different, felt different, and marked a turning point in U.S. coinage history. Collectors often see the 1966 Washington Quarter as symbolic of this shift. It was minted at a time when people were still adjusting to the absence of silver in their coins. For many Americans, the new quarters seemed less valuable, and some even hoarded earlier silver issues, thinking that these new clad coins would never carry the same appeal. Interestingly, the U.S. Mint also made another important decision in 1966. To discourage people from holding on to coins and causing shortages in circulation, the Mint did not include mint marks on quarters, dimes, or nickels during this time. This means all 1966 Washington quarters lack a mint mark, regardless of where they were produced. The design of the 1966 quarter, of course, retained the classic Washington portrait by John Flanagan on the obverse. The bold profile of George Washington, facing left, with the word Liberty above and the date 1966 below, remained unchanged. The national motto, "In God We Trust," was also prominently displayed. On the reverse side, the familiar heraldic eagle continued to spread its wings proudly. Perched on a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches, the eagle design was a strong reminder of America's values of strength and peace. This design remained unchanged for decades and is still beloved by collectors today. While the 1966 Washington Quarter was mass-produced, not every example was struck equally. Some coins came out of the presses with flaws, striking errors, or unusual details. These small variations are exactly what make certain 1966 quarters worth far more than their face value. Errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets are highly sought after by collectors. When these mistakes occur, they transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a rare treasure. For the 1966 quarter, error varieties can raise its value to levels that surprise even seasoned numismatists. Another important factor in the coin's value is its condition. While millions of 1966 quarters entered circulation, most became worn through everyday use. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is much harder. Coins that still have their original luster and sharp details can command far higher prices at auction. Some of the most valuable 1966 Washington quarters are those that have been preserved in mint state grades, often certified by professional grading services. A coin graded at the highest levels, like MS-67 or above, becomes exceptionally rare and valuable. These are the coins that collectors fiercely compete for. In addition to circulation strikes, there were also special mint set coins produced in 1966. The U.S. Mint had paused proof set production during this time and instead released SMS coins, which were struck with more care than normal circulation coins. These coins often have a sharper appearance and can also be highly collectible. A 1966 Washington quarter from a special mint set, if preserved in gem condition, can be worth significantly more than a standard example. Collectors appreciate these coins for their higher quality strike and attractive finishes. The historical context of the coin adds to its allure. The mid-1960s represented a dramatic change in U.S. coinage policy, and the 1966 quarter serves as a reminder of how the government responded to economic pressures. It was a practical decision, but it created a new era in coin collecting. Over the years, the 1966 Washington quarter has grown in popularity with collectors, not only for its design and history but also for the potential surprises that certain examples hold. Rare varieties and top-grade coins have brought impressive results in the numismatic market. For those who own a 1966 quarter, it is always worth taking a close look at the coin. Even though most examples are common and circulate for just 25 cents, there's always the chance that one may have a hidden error or be preserved in outstanding condition. This possibility is what keeps collectors excited. The thrill of discovering a rare coin among ordinary change has always been part of the magic of coin collecting. The 1966 Washington quarter fits perfectly into that tradition. Imagine the journey of a single quarter minted in 1966. It may have passed through countless hands, bought small items, or even sat forgotten in a drawer for decades. Yet today, it could be recognized as something far more than just pocket change. Collectors often remind us that rarity, history, and condition all come together to determine a coin's true value. In the case of the 1966 quarter, these elements can align to make it an extraordinary find. Numismatics, the study of coins, shows us how even the smallest details can change everything. The difference between a coin worth only face value and one worth thousands can come down to the sharpness of the strike, a doubling of a letter, or a preserved luster that survived for nearly 60 years. This is why professional grading and careful examination are so important. Collectors and experts spend hours studying these coins to uncover their secrets and to understand their place in American history. The 1966 Washington quarter may look ordinary to most, but to coin enthusiasts, it represents the excitement of the hunt, the pride of ownership, and the reward of knowledge. It is proof that history can live in the palm of your hand. When people see the value of certain 1966 quarters today, they are often shocked. A coin that was minted for just 25 cents, and that many people once overlooked, can now sell for staggering amounts if it is the right variety, grade, or error. Example. For anyone interested in coin collecting, the 1966 Washington quarter is a reminder to always keep your eyes open. Treasure may be closer than you think, sometimes hiding in a handful of change or tucked away in an old jar. This coin tells the story of a turning point in American coinage, a change in material, design continuity, and the lasting legacy of George Washington's image on our money. It is a piece of history that still circulates among us, connecting the past with the present, and while most 1966 Washington quarters are worth only their face value, the rarest and finest examples have achieved incredible prices. The highest recorded value for a 1966 Washington quarter has reached $184,000. Top 2. The Washington quarter is one of the most collected coins in United States history, and the year 1979 stands out as a fascinating chapter in its journey. At first glance, a 1979 quarter may seem ordinary, but when you dive deeper into the details, history, and collector market, you quickly discover that it carries far more significance than its face value suggests. The 1979 Washington quarter was struck during an era of change for America. The nation was experiencing economic challenges, inflation, and political shifts. Coins that circulated through the hands of everyday Americans became not just tools of commerce but also reflections of a society in transition. The Washington quarter itself had already been around for nearly half a century by 1979. Originally introduced in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the design by John Flanagan became a mainstay of American currency. Its familiar face had become a symbol of trust, tradition, and national pride. In 1979, the composition of the quarter was the same as it had been since 1965. The coin was no longer made of 90% silver, as earlier quarters had been, but instead featured a copper-nickel-clad composition. This copper core, sandwiched between two nickel layers, gave the coin durability for circulation while reducing production costs. On the obverse, the quarter continued to feature the dignified left-facing portrait of George Washington. The word "Liberty" appeared at the top, while the motto, "In God We Trust," was placed prominently to the left. The year 1979 was displayed at the bottom, grounding the coin in its historical moment. The reverse side carried the iconic eagle design that had become familiar to generations of Americans. With wings spread wide, perched upon a bundle of arrows and surrounded by olive branches, the eagle symbolized both the strength and peaceful aspirations of the United States. One important detail about the 1979 Washington quarter is the presence of mint marks. Unlike quarters from the mid-1960s, which bore no mint marks, the 1979 coins featured marks from the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Philadelphia quarters had no mint mark, Denver quarters carried a D, and San Francisco quarters bore an S. San Francisco, however, was producing proof coins in 1979. These coins were struck with extra care and polished dies, resulting in brilliant finishes. They were not meant for circulation but were sold directly to collectors in proof sets. Many of these coins survive today in beautiful condition. Another reason the 1979 quarter is interesting to collectors is the possibility of errors and varieties. As with many years of coin production, small mistakes occurred in the minting process. These errors created rare and valuable coins that collectors eagerly seek out. For example, double die obverse, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes are some of the varieties that can make a 1979 quarter much more valuable than its regular counterparts. Such errors capture the attention of numismatists because they are scarce and each one is unique. Condition is also a major factor in determining the value of a 1979 quarter. Most of these coins circulated heavily, meaning they became worn, scratched, or lost their original luster. Finding one in pristine, mint state condition is much harder and far more rewarding for collectors. The highest graded 1979 Washington quarters, especially those certified by grading services at levels like MS-67 or higher, are considered rare. At these levels, every tiny detail of Washington's portrait and the eagle on the reverse is sharp and well-defined, with no distracting marks. Proof coins from 1979 are also worth considering. These coins, struck with mirror-like fields and frosted designs, showcase the artistry of the minting process. Collectors prize them for their beauty and craftsmanship, and top-grade proofs can sell for impressive amounts. Another fascinating aspect of the 1979 quarter is its role in American pocket change during a time of shifting coin usage. That same year, the Susan B. Anthony dollar was introduced, a coin that attempted to revive the use of dollar coins in commerce. While the dollar coin faced challenges in circulation, the quarter remained king of everyday transactions. The Washington quarter's dominance in daily commerce meant that the 1979 issue was widely produced. Yet, despite the high mintage, the rarest and finest examples stand apart as treasures for collectors. This is the paradox of modern coin collecting. A coin can be common in quantity but rare in quality. The cultural background of 1979 also gives this coin meaning. America was moving into the last years of the 1970s, a decade of dramatic change. From economic struggles to technological advances, the coins in people's pockets were silent witnesses to history unfolding. The artistry of the Washington quarter design deserves recognition as well. Flanagan's portrait of Washington is both simple and powerful, giving dignity to the nation's first president while making the coin easy to identify. This consistency of design also adds to the nostalgic value of the 1979 quarter today. Collectors who specialize in Washington quarters often consider 1979 an important date to include in a complete set. It represents not only a continuation of the series but also a piece of the broader story of American coinage during the late 20th century. For those who collect error coins, the 1979 quarter is particularly exciting. A double die or other striking mistake from this year can transform an ordinary quarter into a numismatic prize worth thousands. Such coins are rare but highly desirable. One must also consider the role of grading services in establishing the value of these coins. Organizations like PCGS and NGC have certified many 1979 quarters, and coins in the highest grades often bring record prices at auction. This professional grading system gives collectors confidence and helps preserve the coin's value. The journey of a 1979 quarter from mint to collector is a fascinating one. Some coins entered circulation immediately, while others were set aside in mint sets, proof sets, or private collections. The way each coin was handled over the decades has directly influenced its condition and its worth today. For those new to coin collecting, the 1979 quarter is an excellent reminder of why it is important to carefully examine even the most ordinary-looking coins. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, overlooked in change jars or coin rolls. Numismatics teaches us that every coin has a story. The 1979 Washington quarter tells a story of tradition, change, and hidden value. It reminds us that coins are not just small pieces of metal, they are artifacts of history, carrying the weight of their time. This is why collectors continue to seek out the finest examples of the 1979 quarter. They are not only adding a coin to their collection but also preserving a piece of America's past. The coin's enduring popularity also shows how a simple design, paired with historical context and collector demand, can elevate a coin from pocket change to prized possession. As the years pass, the best examples of 1979 Washington quarters are becoming scarcer. Coins that remain untouched and beautifully preserved will only increase in desirability, ensuring their place as highlights in collections. For anyone curious about coin collecting, the 1979 Washington quarter serves as an inspiring starting point. It demonstrates how a seemingly common coin can, under the right circumstances, achieve extraordinary value, and while most 1979 quarters are worth only their face value, the rarest and most exceptional examples have reached astonishing prices. The highest recorded value for a 1979 Washington quarter has been $135,000. Top 3. The Washington quarter has long been a symbol of American coinage, and the year 1983 carries a unique and intriguing place in this series. At first glance, a quarter from 1983 may seem like nothing more than spare change in your pocket, but collectors know that this particular year holds remarkable importance in the world of numismatics. The story of the 1983 Washington quarter begins with the history of the series itself. First struck in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the design by sculptor John Flanagan became one of the most familiar images in circulation. By the time 1983 came around, the Washington quarter had already been in American hands for over 50 years. The quarter of this era was not the same as the original silver issues. In 1965, due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint stopped using 90% silver in quarters and replaced it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change continued through 1983, and as a result, quarters of this time contained no silver, but rather a copper core layered with nickel. On the obverse of the 1983 quarter, George Washington's strong profile remains the centerpiece. The words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," frame his portrait, while the year 1983 sits at the bottom. This classic design links the coin directly to America's history and traditions. The reverse side features the bold image of an eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches. This design carried with it the dual symbolism of American strength and the hope for peace. It was a design loved by generations of Americans, and one that endured for many decades. What sets the 1983 quarter apart from many other years is the fact that the U.S. Mint did not produce mint sets in 1982 and 1983. This decision has had a massive impact on the availability of high-quality coins from these years. Without mint sets, fewer pristine examples were saved for collectors at the time of issue. As a result, finding a 1983 quarter in high mint state condition today is much more difficult than for other years. Most of the coins went straight into circulation, where they quickly became worn through daily use. The scarcity of well-preserved examples has made the 1983 quarter highly desirable. Collectors often describe the 1983 quarter as a modern rarity for this very reason. It is not rare in terms of mintage numbers, since millions were struck, but it is rare in terms of condition. Those who find one in gem mint state have discovered a coin that is far scarcer than it first appears. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint both struck quarters in 1983. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver coins bear the D mark. Both versions are collected today, but finding either in top condition can be a challenge. proof coins for 1983 were produced at the San Francisco Mint, and these are easier to find in high quality since they were sold directly to collectors. Still, the real treasure for many numismatists is the circulation strike quarter from Philadelphia or Denver in exceptional condition. Errors and varieties add yet another layer of interest to the 1983 Washington quarter. Collectors search for double dies, off-center strikes, and other mistakes that occurred during the minting process. These error coins are scarce and can bring premium prices when they appear on the market. One of the most famous varieties of this year is the 1983 double die reverse. This coin displays doubling in the lettering, especially in United States of America and E pluribus unum. Coins with this doubling are highly prized among collectors. Condition plays the most critical role in determining the value of a 1983 quarter. While heavily worn examples are worth only face value, coins that have never been circulated and retain full luster are far more valuable. At the highest grades, these coins become true rarities. Professional grading services have certified a limited number of 1,983 quarters in superb grades like MS66 and MS67. These top-tier coins often sell for thousands of dollars at auction, demonstrating just how rare and desirable they are. For the average person, this means it is worth carefully checking every 1983 quarter you come across. While most are worth 25 cents, a gem-quality example could be worth a small fortune. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting: the possibility of treasure hiding in plain sight. The absence of mint sets in 1983 continues to fuel demand today. Collectors who build complete sets of Washington quarters know that this year is one of the toughest to find in excellent condition, making it an essential target for anyone serious about the series. The historical context of 1983 also adds to the coin story. America was in the midst of the 1980s, a decade of economic recovery, cultural change, and technological advancement. The coins of this period were witnesses to an evolving nation, carried in pockets and purses across the country. The 1983 quarter represents more than just currency. It is a time capsule from an important moment in American history. Its scarcity and high grade makes it even more symbolic of the challenges and shifts of that time. Collectors are drawn not only to the financial value but also to the thrill of owning a coin that connects them directly to the past. A pristine 1983 quarter is not just money, it is a piece of art, history, and heritage. The design of the Washington quarter itself remains a testament to timeless artistry. John Flanagan's portrait of Washington continues to inspire respect and admiration, while the eagle on the reverse symbolizes America's enduring ideals. Over the years, auctions have shown just how valuable these coins can become. When an exceptional 1983 quarter appears on the market, collectors compete fiercely to add it to their collections. These moments highlight the hidden treasures that still exist within modern coinage. For new collectors, the 1983 Washington quarter is an excellent reminder to never overlook the coins that seem ordinary. Sometimes, the most valuable pieces are not the oldest or rarest in mintage but the ones hardest to find in top condition. The journey of a 1983 quarter from minting to today can vary greatly. Some were spent countless times and show heavy wear, while others were set aside, forgotten, and later rediscovered in pristine condition. That difference determines whether a coin is worth cents or thousands. This unpredictability is part of what makes numismatics so rewarding. Each coin tells its own unique story, and the 1983 quarter's story is one of hidden rarity and surprising value. As collectors continue to appreciate the Washington quarter series, the 1983 issue will always hold a special place. It stands as a reminder of how decisions made by the mint decades ago can affect scarcity and desirability today, and for those fortunate enough to own a gem-quality example, the 1983 Washington quarter is not just a coin but a true treasure. Its rarity and high grade makes it one of the standout modern issues in American coinage. While millions of 1983 quarters exist, only a tiny fraction remain in the superb condition that collectors crave. These rare survivors have achieved astonishing prices on the numismatic market. The highest recorded value for a 1983 Washington quarter has been $115,000. Top 4. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage for generations, and the 1994 issue is one that continues to capture the attention of collectors and history lovers alike. At first glance, it may look like just another everyday coin, but beneath its surface lies a story filled with artistry, history, and hidden value. the quarter first made its debut in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. John Flanagan's design of the nation's first president became an enduring image in American currency, appearing year after year without major changes for decades. By the time 1994 arrived, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for more than 60 years. The 1994 Washington quarter was struck in the familiar copper-nickel-clad composition, which had been the standard since 1965. This composition included an inner core of pure copper, surrounded by outer layers of nickel. This made the coins more durable for everyday use and much less costly to produce than their earlier silver counterparts. On the obverse of the 1994 quarter, George Washington's portrait stands proudly as it had for decades. The word "Liberty" appears above his head, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," is displayed to the left. At the bottom of the coin sits the year 1994, marking its place in time. The reverse continued to feature the iconic heraldic eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle clutches a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness, while olive branches frame the design, representing peace. This powerful image had been used since 1932 and was one of the most recognized designs in U.S. coinage. By the 1990s, the Washington quarter was one of the most widely used coins in the United States. Whether for vending machines, parking meters, or everyday purchases, quarters were in constant demand. The 1994 issue was produced in large numbers at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints to meet this need. The Philadelphia mint quarters carry no mint mark, while those from Denver bear the D mint mark. Additionally, proof versions of the 1994 quarter were struck at the San Francisco Mint, carrying the S mint mark and specially made for collectors. These proofs featured mirror-like fields and sharp details that made them stand out. Although the 1994 quarter may not seem like a rare coin, its true value emerges when condition and varieties come into play. Circulated examples are common, but finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is much more difficult than it seems. Coins that have been preserved in gem mint state condition, with brilliant luster and no distracting marks, are far scarcer. Collectors seek out these examples, and they are often certified by professional grading services to ensure authenticity and quality. Error coins also play an important role in making certain 1994 quarters especially valuable. Errors such as off-center strikes, double strikes, and even clipped planchets are highly collectible. These mistakes occurred during the minting process, and because they are uncommon, they can bring significant premiums. Varieties are another exciting part of the 1994 quarter story. Double dies, repunched mint marks, and unusual die characteristics can make a coin stand out from the millions of others produced that year. Collectors actively search for these varieties to add to their collections. The proof coins from San Francisco are another area of interest. These coins were sold in proof sets and carefully packaged for collectors. With their frosted designs and reflective backgrounds, they are some of the most beautiful examples of the 1994 Washington quarter. However, even among proofs, condition matters greatly. A proof coin that has been mishandled, spotted, or scratched loses much of its value. Only those preserved in perfect condition, graded at the highest levels like PR 70, can command top prices in the market. One of the reasons collectors find the 1994 quarter so interesting is that it represents the end of an era. Just a few years later, in 1999, the U.S. Mint would launch the 50-state quarters program, replacing the eagle reverse with designs representing each state. This made the 1994 issue one of the final eagle quarters before that historic change. Because of this, the 1994 quarter holds a special place in the timeline of American coinage. It is a reminder of the classic Washington quarter design that served the nation for more than 6 decades, before giving way to a new wave of designs in the late 1990s. For collectors who focus on complete date and mintmark sets, the 1994 quarter is an essential piece. While not the rarest, it represents an important transition period in U.S. coinage history and is always in demand among serious enthusiasts. When evaluating the value of a 1994 quarter, several factors come into play: condition, rarity of the variety, and demand in the collector market. A worn coin from circulation is generally worth only its face value, but a pristine gem or an error coin can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The real treasures are the top-graded mint state coins. These are the quarters that have survived for decades without ever entering circulation, carefully preserved with their original brilliance intact. Such coins are rare, and when they appear at auction, they often sell for astonishing amounts. Numismatists point out that the difference between an ordinary coin and a valuable one can come down to the smallest details. A sharper strike, cleaner surfaces, or a unique variety can transform a common quarter into a prized possession. This is why professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play such an important role. Their certification gives collectors confidence that a coin is genuine and that its grade accurately reflects its quality. High-grade certified 1994 quarters are among the most sought-after pieces in the series. The cultural backdrop of 1994 also adds depth to the coin story. America was in a decade of rapid change, with advances in technology, new political dynamics, and cultural shifts. The coins of this era were witnesses to that history, carried by millions of people in their everyday lives. The artistry of the Washington quarter deserves recognition as well. John Flanagan's design may have been simple, but it carried a timeless dignity that kept it in use for over 60 years. The 1994 issue is part of that enduring legacy. Collectors often emphasize the thrill of the hunt when it comes to coins like the 1994 quarter. Searching through rolls of quarters, coin jars, or even pocket change can lead to the discovery of a rare high-grade example or a valuable error coin. This element of surprise is part of what makes coin collecting so exciting. The idea that an ordinary-looking 1994 quarter could be worth far more than 25 cents adds an element of mystery and reward to the hobby. Over time, the 1994 quarter has grown in appreciation among collectors. Its role as one of the final classic Eagle quarters, combined with the possibility of valuable varieties and high-grade survivors, ensures its lasting appeal. And while millions of these coins were minted and circulated, the finest and rarest examples stand apart. These are the coins that achieve record prices, proving that even modern-era coins can become treasures when preserved in exceptional condition. The journey of the 1994 Washington quarter is one of tradition, transition, and discovery. It connects the long history of the Washington quarter to the changes that would soon transform American coinage, and although most 1994 quarters are worth only their face value, the most exceptional examples have been sold for astonishing amounts. The highest recorded value for a 1994 Washington quarter has been $84,000. Top 5. The Washington quarter has long been one of the most recognized and widely used coins in the United States, and the 1988 issue is an important chapter in that story. To most people, a 1988 quarter is just ordinary pocket change, but collectors know that some examples from this year can be truly extraordinary. The Washington quarter design was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the nation's first president. John Flanagan's portrait of Washington became iconic, gracing the obverse of the coin for decades. By 1988, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for more than 50 years, and it remained a symbol of America's enduring traditions. The obverse of the 1988 quarter features Washington's bold profile, facing left. The word "Liberty" appears at the top, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," is positioned to the left. The date 1988 is placed prominently at the bottom, anchoring the coin in its place in history. On the reverse, the eagle design continued to reign. With wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches, the eagle symbolizes both military strength and the nation's hope for peace. This reverse design, used since the coin's introduction, was still beloved by collectors and everyday citizens alike. By 1988, the quarter had long since transitioned from its original silver composition. Since 1965, quarters had been struck in a copper-nickel-clad format, with an inner copper core and outer nickel layers. This change was made to keep production costs low while still creating durable coins for daily use. The 1988 Washington quarter was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, Denver coins carry the D mint mark, and San Francisco produced proof coins with the S mint mark, intended for collectors. Proof coins from San Francisco were made with special care, using polished dies to create sharp details and mirror-like finishes. These proof quarters were sold directly to collectors in proof sets and remain some of the most attractive examples of the 1988 issue. Circulation strikes from Philadelphia and Denver, however, are the ones that intrigue collectors the most today. While millions of them were produced, only a tiny fraction survive in pristine mint state condition. making them far more desirable than their worn counterparts. Condition is one of the most critical factors when it comes to the value of a 1988 quarter. Coins that circulated heavily usually show wear, scratches, and dullness. But those that escaped circulation, retaining their original shine and detail, can be worth far more. Some 1988 quarters have also become valuable because of minting errors. Mistakes like off-center strikes, double strikes, clipped planchets, or even unusual die varieties can transform a common coin into a rare treasure that collectors eagerly seek. One especially interesting variety is the double die, where doubling occurs on the design elements due to misalignment in the minting process. On a 1988 quarter, such a double die could be visible in the lettering or the numbers of the date, making it instantly appealing to numismatists. Another aspect that makes the 1988 quarter interesting is its role in late 20th century coinage. This coin was issued just over a decade before the 50-state quarters program began in 1999, making it part of the final era of the classic eagle reverse design. Because of this, the 1988 quarter serves as a bridge between the long-running traditional design and the modern era of commemorative state quarters. Collectors often view it as part of the final stretch of classic Washington quarters before the change. Professional grading plays an important role in identifying and valuing 1988 quarters. Coins graded at the highest levels, such as MS-67 or MS-68, are exceptionally rare and can command impressive prices when they appear at auction. Proof coins also achieve remarkable values when they are graded at the perfect level of PR70, with flawless surfaces and deep cameo contrast. These coins showcase the craftsmanship of the mint and are highly sought after. The everyday journey of the 1988 quarter is also fascinating. Millions were used in vending machines, arcade games, laundromats, and countless small purchases. While many were spent until worn smooth, a few were set aside by chance, preserved in nearly perfect condition. Those fortunate survivors are the coins that have captured the imagination of today's collectors. They represent both ordinary commerce and extraordinary preservation, making them treasures hidden in plain sight. For coin enthusiasts, the thrill lies in searching through rolls of quarters, inherited collections, or even pocket change, in hopes of finding one of these elusive high-grade 1988 quarters or a rare minting error. This hunt for hidden value is part of what makes coin collecting so exciting. The idea that a quarter minted in 1988 could be worth far more than 25 cents adds an element of surprise and possibility to the hobby. The cultural background of 1988 also gives the coin significance. America in the late 1980s was experiencing political shifts, advances in technology, and cultural transformations. The coins of the time were small witnesses to that larger story, carried by millions of Americans in their daily lives. Collectors often emphasize the importance of context. The 1988 quarter is not just a coin, it is a piece of history that connects us to a specific moment in time, bridging the traditions of the past with the changes that were soon to come. The artistry of the coin cannot be overlooked. John Flanagan Portrait of Washington remains one of the most enduring designs in U.S. coinage, and the eagle reverse adds strength and symbolism that appeals to generations of Americans. Over the years, auctions have revealed just how valuable these coins can become when found in exceptional condition. Collectors are often surprised to see the prices that a top-grade 1988 quarter can achieve on the open market. This has encouraged more people to take a second look at their coins. What might seem like an ordinary quarter could, under the right circumstances, be a valuable collectible worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. Numismatics teaches us that no coin should be overlooked. Every piece has the potential to tell a story, and the 1988 quarter story is one of survival, condition, and hidden rarity. As more collectors turn their attention to modern-era quarters, the 1988 issue is gaining recognition as one of the more significant dates of its time. It stands as both a common coin in circulation and a rare prize in top condition. The 1988 Washington quarter proves that even coins from the relatively recent past can achieve impressive value when preserved in the right way or when they display unique minting characteristics. And while the vast majority of 1988 quarters are worth only their face value, the rarest, highest quality examples have been sold for astonishing sums. The highest recorded value for a 1988 Washington quarter has been $100,000.